So when we look at A, we're talking about just briefly describe, okay? Not explain, describe. If we just use the term manifest destiny, that's it. It doesn't work. You need to describe it. Then the next one says contributed, okay? Briefly explain. So now you need to explain it, okay? Again, that would probably take a couple of sentences. Contribute. Contribute is cause. So what caused this manifest destiny, okay? It doesn't have to be the biggest cause. It just has to be one cause, okay? And then briefly explain one specific historical effect, okay? So what did this manifest destiny then cause, okay? I want you to read the first example, okay? We have an example that I want you to read, okay, right here. And I want you to assess, do they get all 3 points? Part A, Part B, and Part C. Do they get all 3 parts? Or do they miss something? So, go ahead and read right now. I would suggest highlighting or underlining what they get or do not get. All right, so let's look at this one. Part A, does it get the point for briefly describing?
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Okay, it mentions manifest destiny, okay, right there. And then it also mentions the right to expand, okay, encouraging Americans to the frontier, okay? It basically describes manifest destiny in a sense. It mentions ideology, divine right, okay? That does it pretty well, okay? It's brief, which is what you're supposed to do, just brief. All right, Part B. Does it get Part B, which was a specific event that led to this?
I think so.
Does it? Yeah, okay. The time period is 1800 to 1850, and 1849 fits within that time period, right? The gold rush, thousands of individuals, okay, their families move west. Okay, it's only one sentence, but it gets it, okay? The newfound riches, gold rush, it explains it, that gold rush is about newfound riches. Then does it get an effect? 1844 to 1890. Yes, it does. Okay, Pacific Railway Act. It didn't have to give that proper noun. It could have given Transcontinental Railroad. And it mentions about movement of goods. This part right here was actually pretty good. Okay, it did good at explaining that effect. Okay, that as people are moving westward, okay, that people need to connect to the east. Okay, so that was actually pretty good. Let's look at the next one. Sample B. Does it get all 3 points? Go ahead and read it. All right, let's look at this one here. So part A, does it get the point for briefly describing manifest destiny?
Yes.
Yeah, it does, okay? And, I mean, this one maybe is even better than the formal one, but it doesn't matter. It gets the point. Part B, does it get the point for an event that contributes or causes? Yeah, what is it? Louisiana Purchase, very good, okay, and it explains it, Louisiana Purchase. So that's great. Does it get the third point for an effect? It does not. Trail of Tears is outside the time period because it says 1844 to 1890, okay? So this, unfortunately, if it had not mentioned Trail of Tears, but it had mentioned kind of in more general, about other Native American groups, and it didn't actually give a specific example. Well, it says specific historical effect. So that's what they were trying to do. If it would have mentioned, maybe the Lakota Sioux or Navajo or, another Native American group, then that would have worked. Let's go ahead and look at number C. So that one, it got a point for A, a point for B, but not a point for C. But let's look at sample C. Hopefully you can read these. Now you know the pain that I go through. Of course.
Wait, so what did they get on that last one?
Last one they got a 2 out of 3.
So which
Yeah.
one was the one that they didn't get?
It was the part C that they didn't get because it was Trail of Tears was outside the time period.
You couldn't say it?
Okay, let's go ahead and focus on the next one. Give you a couple minutes to do that.
Wait, so the B got a point?
So sample A got 3 points. Sample B only got the first 2 points, not the third one. But let's see about sample C.
C is getting the first one. B and C,
Yeah, it definitely gets the point on the first point. What about part B?
No. No. That's a huge stretch.
So you're right. It doesn't get the point for part B because Second Great Awakening, it is the time period, but it doesn't connect. Okay? They name it, they explain it, but they didn't chain it because it doesn't connect. So it's great that you can, list some history and explain some history, but if it doesn't connect to what they're asking you to do, then it doesn't work. What about part C?
No,
Trail of
Trail
Tears
of Tears again.
Okay, Trail of Tears again. Okay,
Trail of
so
Tears after the time period?
Trail of Tears was before the time period that it was asking, because again, remember, we want to look at what it's asking. This is why you want to highlight, underline the prompt and everything, so that you remember what it's asking. So for cause, 1800 to 1850, that's the time period. And then for effect is 1844 to 1890. So really there's a large stretch that it could have done. It could have done Buffalo Bill, could have done, Nez per se, being moved out of Montana because of farms being made and everything in there. It could have mentioned a few things. It could have even mentioned about Chinese exclusion acts, right? It could have mentioned different things there, okay? Specific historical fact. Could have mentioned the growth of Chinatowns, the growth of, Levi jeans even, it could have mentioned. That would have fit in the time period, and if you would have explained it, so that's what you want.